Okay, well, let's try this. I have my new holder and we'll see how this is going to work. So this is chapter 9.3, which is all about angles. So first, let's just start by drawing an angle. Just going to draw a straight line. And I want that line to become a ray, which is an endpoint with an arrow at the end, indicating that one side goes on forever and ever and one stops. So we have a ray. So we know that an angle is made up of two rays that come together at the vertex. So we're going to call this the vertex. So where the two rays come together at that common vertex. This is a specific type of an angle because there are 4 different types of angles that we need to talk about. There's acute angles, right angles, obtuse angles, and straight angles. This is an acute angle, which means that it is an angle that is less than 90 degrees. So the measurement of this angle, we can call it angle A, is less than 90 degrees. So when we say this little m stands for measurement, this is an angle symbol, this is a less than symbol. Looks the same, so be careful with that. Anyways, one way for us to measure this angle is to take our protractor, and if you notice that the protractor has right there a bullseye in it, you're going to want to put the vertex right there, and then you're going to want to line up the ray right along this line right here. So I'm just going to set it down, and as you can see, the vertex is right there, and the line, this ray is lined up right on that line there. So if you turn it like this, you can see it fell off. I want to line it up perfectly like that. And then I want to take this other ray and I want to find out where it's going. So a good way to do that is take a piece of paper or take a ruler and kind of line it up so that you can extend that angle all the way up. Then we're going to start from the bottom. Now there's 2 measurements here. So you have to figure out, okay, well, which one am I supposed to be using? Well, you want to start at 0. So common sense would say that I go from 0, 10, 20, 30, not 0, 170, 160, 150. So it only makes sense that I'm going to go and use this top measurement. Also, it makes sense because I said it's an acute angle. And if it's an acute angle, I definitely wouldn't say that's 138 degrees, which is where it would be if I was using the bottom one. It would make more sense that I would say it's 10, 20, 30, 43 degrees is what I would measure that angle as. So the measurement of angle A is equal to 34 degrees. And that's how you measure those angles. Now, an angle could be facing to the left, it could be facing right, it could be facing up, or it could be facing down. So I can turn it any way, and I can still measure it. I'm still going to measure it by placing the protractor down on the vertex, lining it up, and then measuring it around. It doesn't matter which way it's facing. I can always pick my paper up and turn it to face it the way that I am most comfortable with measuring my angle. So keep that in mind when you're measuring your angles. You want to always make sure that you include the degree sign, and you want to make sure that you're accurately identifying your angle. Another type of angle to make would be a right angle. Now, a right angle is a 90-degree angle. So if I make that, I'm going to make a straight line and then come over and make another straight line, create 2 rays, and then I'm going to put this little 90-degree angle symbol in there. That way I know that's exactly 90-degree angles. This is called a right angle. And right angles equals 90 degrees exactly. Okay? Another angle that you would want to talk about and want to look at would be your obtuse angles. So your obtuse angle, now watch how I make it. I'm going to draw a line, ray, put its vertex, and I want to make it a little bit wider so it's open. So when you look at an obtuse angle, it's opened more. So this is called an obtuse. And obtuse angles are greater than 90 degrees. So let's just prove that. I'm going to take it, I'm going to put the center point on the vertex. And again, I'm going to line the bottom ray up. Make sure it's perfectly lined up. I'm going to take my ruler because it's helpful. And I'm going to just make that other ray extend. This time my angle is facing to the right. So I'm going to use this side of the protractor, again, starting at 0. So I already know that this angle has to be greater than 90 degrees. So it doesn't make sense that I use the top line, because if I use the top line, then I'm saying this is a 43-degree angle. 43 degrees is acute. This is supposed to be greater than 90. Here's my 90. So I know that I'm using the bottom line here, going 10, 20, 30, 40, all the way around. So it looks like it's about 137 degrees right there. So see, coming all the way around this way and stopping and going up and seeing, yeah, that's about 137 degrees. So the measurement, we can call this angle B. The measurement of angle B is equal to 137 degrees, approximately, to our best measurement. The fourth angle that we want to talk about is the easiest one to measure, next to the right, and that's just your straight angle. And your straight angle just goes from here to here, and that measurement is going to be always 180 degrees. So those are your 4 different types of angles that we're going to be talking about today, and you're going to be doing in your homework. That's the basis of it. Now what's going to happen in your homework assignment is that you're going to be given an angle within an angle, within an angle, within an angle, within an angle, and so forth and so on. So we're going to have something like this. Here's our vertex, and from there we're going to build off several different angles. I'll raise. Make sure you put your arrows on the end of them. And then they're going to be labeled. So I have my vertex point, and I could say this is Z. I can say this is a point X. This could be S. This could be T, U, and V. So from this, I can see that I have several different types of angles, and you can name angles all different kinds of names. For example, on this one, we call this angle A because there's only one angle, so I only need to call it A. I could have put other points on it and called it, angle BAC or CAB, but because it's only one angle, I really need to only call it angle A. I could even put a little number in there and call it angle 1. I could do the same thing with this angle, and this angle, because there's only one. This one I could not call angle Z because I don't know if you're talking about this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, this big angle here, this big angle there. There are lots of angles within here. So when we name these angles, we'll name them with 3 letters. The middle letter always needs to be the vertex. So let's just look at the measurement of angle XZS. So here's that angle right here, XZS. The first thing you want to do with that angle is you want to be able to, I'm going to put a little number in there. I want to be able to identify that angle. Is it acute? Is it right? Is it obtuse? Or is it straight? When I look at that, it looks like a very little angle. So it's kind of cute. And so I would call that an acute angle, which means the measurement is going to be less than 90 degrees. And if I asked you to measure it, I would ask you to get your protractor, put it right on the vertex, and remember you're only measuring this part of the angle. So if you look, it's pretty easy to get this one without my ruler because it kind of goes right up to this line right here. So when I measure this, again, I want to start at 0 and count up. I don't want to count backwards. That doesn't make sense. So I'm going to go 0, 10, 20, 30 degrees. So we can say that that measurement of that angle is 30 degrees. If I wanted to know the measurement of angle, let's say VZS is right here, V to Z to S. So it's this whole angle right here. That's a pretty big angle. I would say that that angle is most like obtuse. So when I measure that one, I'm going to again line it up. Make sure that I'm going from 0 to 10, not 0 to 170, so 0, 10. And I'm going to go all the way around to here. Oh, hey, look at that. It matches right up to that other one. I don't want to call that 30 degrees because I already identified it as obtuse. So clearly, I'm going to use our bottom number right here, and I'm going to say that's about 150 degrees. So it's about 150 degrees. Let's do a measurement of angle SZU. So that's this one pointing up like this. So I want you to be able to see that you can take your protractor and turn it. A lot of people get stuck on that and they're like, well, how do I measure it when it's going up? Well, the good part is the protractor does turn, so does the paper. So you can do either one, turn the paper, turn the protractor. So I'm going to do it like this. And I'm going to start at 0 again, and I'm not going to go 0, 170, 160. I'm going to go 0, 10. So I'm using the top numbers, and I can see if I extend this line, I might need that ruler for this one. If I extend that line up right there, I can kind of see it's going all the way around the top. First of all, I identified that angle all the way around to 98 degrees would be about right. Because remember, I'm not using the bottom number because that's counting backwards. I want to count up when I do it. And it's starting from here all the way over. So I would say about, here's 90 degrees. So about 98 degrees is about correct. 98 degrees. So if we went back over here, I would say that this one is acute, this one's obtuse, and this one is obtuse. What if I asked for the measurement of angle XZV? What would that degree be? This angle right here, you should be able to identify right away that that is considered a straight angle because it's 180 degrees. So in your homework today, you're going to be measuring some angles and you're going to be classifying angles. So now you have the classification of the 4 different kinds of angles that you're dealing with and the best way to use your protractor. Now, if you watched me draw these angles, some of your homework is going to be, well, let's go ahead and draw the angle. So if I said to you, all right, I want you to draw a 70-degree angle. So you're going to go to your paper and say, I want a 70-degree angle. First, ask yourself, what kind of angle is that? It's less than 90, so it's acute. So it better be small, right? So the best way to make it is draw your line, your first ray, get your end point, take your protractor, put it right on that end point. Remember, you got to start at 0. You're not going to count backwards. Doesn't make sense to use the top numbers. You're going to count forward. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, here's 70. So here's what I do. Put a little mark right there at 70 degrees. You see that okay? Then I'm going to take my protractor and I'm going to turn it till it meets that line. And I'm going to draw. I don't have to go to that line. I don't have to make it huge. And there it is. So this right here is 70 degrees. And it's an acute angle. So you're going to be asked to be drawing some angles. So that should be pretty easy to do. You do not have to own your own protractor. If you do, that's great. If you don't, I'll have some in the classroom that you can borrow. But that's basically what we're going to be doing tomorrow during our lessons. Everything about angles. Bye.